Hi, I'm Rachel from Yoga Course. This is a practice all about flexibility. For this practice, you will need 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have any blocks, you could use books or something else. And that's it. Open heart, open mind, roll out your yoga mat, and when you're ready, we'll get started. So we'll begin. Just set your blocks off to one side for a moment. Let's start in Dandasana, or staff pose in English. We'll just move the fleshy parts of the bottom away and just take a moment to lengthen up through the crown of the head. Legs are lengthened, but go ahead and soften the knees if you need to. And then point your toes upwards towards the sky. From here, point your toes forwards, take them away from you, and then bring the toes back, push forwards with the heels of the feet. A couple more times, point the toes away, bring the toes back, press the heels forwards. One more time together, point the toes away, starting to feel a length through the front shin, and as you bring the toes back, maybe we can start to feel that through the back of the legs, the calves or the gastrocnemius. Okay, so find a comfortable medium with the feet. Still lift up and lengthen through the spine, but again, go ahead, soften the knees if you'd like. Place your hands either side of the legs and then just start to walk your hands forwards. So what often happens here is that I would see a lot of people just start to round through their spine because they have this intention of wanting to be able to touch their toes. But instead, I'd like to encourage you to lift your heart upwards, lengthen the spine, and just move into a really comfortable shape for you. That might mean different things on different days, and definitely certainly for different people as well. No 2 bodies are ever exactly the same, and your body is never the same on any given day and the same the day after. So just starting to feel a length through the backs of the legs is all that we really need in this position. Let's hang here just for 2 more rounds of breath if we can, keeping the heart lifting upwards and forwards. And then go ahead and bring your chest away. Lovely, bend into your right knee. Allow the hip to externally open and rotate so the sole of the foot can move onto the upper inner thigh, also known as the adductor. Square your hips and your shoulders back towards the top of your mat. And we'll take a nice big inhale. As we do that, reach the arms upwards. So try to pull up and out of the waist. And as we exhale, place the hands either side of the left leg. Still again, lifting the heart forwards and through rather than just collapsing the shoulders and bringing your spine into flexion. So hopefully you can start to feel a nice, good stretch through the backs of the legs into the hamstrings and the calves. See if you can bring your toes back in towards you. Notice any sensations that shift in the body. One more full breath here. And then bringing the chest away. With your right hand, scoop the knee back in. We'll step the foot completely over the left leg and flat onto the floor. Right hand now just behind you. You can come up onto your fingertips if you want to. Inhalation, reach the left arm to the sky. And as you exhale, taking the elbow to the outside of the right leg or the right knee. We'll just take a nice easy twist towards the right side. Another variation of this, if this feels a little too strenuous right now, then you could just hold on to your leg and try to bring it a little bit closer in towards your body. Keep everything that's happening with your lower half of your body exactly as it is, but just simply turn your head now to the opposite shoulder. So towards the left shoulder. Well done. Return everything back into center. Re-extend your right leg, give things a bit of a wiggle out. We'll do the same on the other side as well. So go ahead and bend into your left knee, opening out the hip. Plant the sole of the foot onto the upper inner thigh. And then just align everything back up to the top of the mat. Nice big inhale, sweep the arms up. And as we exhale, heart leads as we fold forwards. So usually to improve flexibility, we have to be here for at least 30 seconds in a pose. We have something in the body that's called stretch reflex. So as soon as we enter a pose, your body naturally responds by creating tension so you don't go too far, you don't hurt yourself. And once those 30 seconds go and the tension starts to dissolve just a little bit, gives us a bit more space to move into. Let's go ahead and bring the chest away. With your left hand, bring the knee back in towards the midline of the body and then stepping the foot completely over. That foot now is flat onto the floor. Left fingertips come just behind the sit bones. Sweep that right arm up. Big inhale, lift your heart, and then exhale. Let's take a twist around towards the left side this time. So the elbow moves to the outside of the left leg or the left knee. And if it feels comfortable, follow with the gaze as well. So the cervical spine, the top region here of the neck, also gets a nice good stretch too. Keep the lower half of the body exactly as it is, but now simply turning the neck and the head towards the right shoulder. Lovely. And returning back into the center. Unravel and give things a bit of a wiggle out. Let's move a little deeper into our hips. So spin the legs around, take hold of your blocks and have them be on the highest height that they can be, maybe about shoulder distance apart. We'll keep our right knee on the floor, but step your left foot now between the two hands. Okay, so we'll check in with our alignment. So this left knee should be directly on top of the ankle with the left toes firmly pointing forwards. And what's happening with the back leg is that the knee is much further back than the hip. It's not stacked directly underneath. If you're feeling the knee underneath, perhaps you're feeling the hard ground underneath you, you could just roll up the side of your mat so it's double thick and you can place that underneath the knee to cushion it a little more. Okay, from here, what I want for us to do is flip the blocks over onto lower height and then start to draw the hips backwards. So we're not dropping the sit bones towards that back heel, we're keeping it upwards, but we're just really starting to lengthen through the front leg, which is our left leg, okay? If the knee is still bent, that's perfectly fine as well. Let's move back to where we came from into that low lunge. So go ahead and flip the blocks back over to the highest height. Drop your hips forwards and down and then lift your chest upwards here. This will really make a difference. So pressing firmly into the block so that the heart can lift forwards and upwards a little more. Good, flip the blocks over again. Draw your hips backwards. Now, this is the second time we're coming into this pose, which is called half monkey. So we'll see if the left toes can lift up towards the face. Glide your left hip backwards to make room for your right hip to just very gently move forwards into that space. We'll hold here for just 2 more full rounds of breath. Well done. Rebend the front knee, moving back into that low lunge shape. Good, drop your hips forwards and down and engage your glutes here. We'll take the left hand onto the thigh, the right hand now on top of the left hand, and actively, energetically press your thigh away from you, making sure that your glutes are engaged. We'll come into what's kind of known as a crescent lunge really. You could lift the arms up towards the sky if you wanted to, or keep that compression, keep pressing away. The thigh is moving away from the front line of the body. Well done. Tuck the back toes underneath. We'll take our left knee back to join the right. Give things a bit of a wiggle from side to side. We'll keep the blocks as they are. We'll need them because we're gonna just quickly transition onto the other side and then show up completely brand new on this side. Okay, take a bit of time to move into it, to find the alignment. Remember what I mentioned about knee on top of ankle and toes firmly pointing forwards. Also what I tend to see a lot of is the knee, actually the back knee not being too far away from the back hip. So don't be shy with that. Take the left knee a little further back if you can. All right, so we're gonna flip the blocks over onto the lower height. Start to guide the hips backwards a little bit more so that we can start to extend the front leg. And don't be worried if you still have a generous bend in your front knee. As long as you can feel the lengthening happening through the back of the leg, you are absolutely in the right place. One more breath here. Rebend the front knee, flip the blocks back over onto the highest height, drop the hips forwards and down, and then start to lift the heart forwards and through. So we're not folding forwards anymore. We are consciously pressing into the blocks to lift the heart and bring the shoulders down and away from the ears. Squeeze your glutes here. Let's take 2 more breaths together. You're doing so good. Final breath. Well done. Flip the blocks over for our last time, moving into half monkey. So see if we can go a little deeper this time. Bring the toes back towards the head. Glide your right hip slightly backwards so your left hip levels out. They're in alignment here. Means the pelvis will be level as well. As we tip forwards, we're hinging from the hips, but the heart is still leading all of this. We're not rounding the shoulders and collapsing. We're inviting more space every single time that we move. And then finally, rebend the front knee, flip the blocks over, drop your hips forwards and down. Well done. Activate the glutes, the muscles in the bottom. Lift the heart. Place your right hand onto the thigh, your left hand on top of your right hand. Press your thigh away from you. Good. Can you lift your heart upwards and backwards? So the heart maybe is lifting to the sky. If you want to, you can reach the arms upwards or stay with your hands on your thigh. I'll find a few breaths here, noticing any strong sensations that are surfacing. Well done. Moving away from that, place the hands on the blocks if you need to, just to steady yourself. Let's take the right knee back to join the left, and we'll just set the blocks off to one side for a moment. Well done. Coming into 4-point kneeling, drop the belly, lift the heart, lift the tailbone, cat-cow. Exhale, separate shoulder blades, pull navel in. We'll do a few more times. Opening the chest. And then rounding the shoulders. Let's go for one more. Well done. Stay present with your breath. Come back into a neutral spine position. We're going to tuck our toes underneath. Come on into a downward facing dog. And then look forwards. Take a nice slow and steady walk up to the top of your mat. Soften into the knees if you want to, if it feels better. But just coming into a deep forward fold. So simply hanging the upper body towards the ground. The crown of the head is towards the mat and the gaze between the 2 legs. So I'd like for us to get a little deeper into the hamstrings actually, just to give us a little bit more space here. So with your peace fingers, so your index finger and middle finger, take hold of your 2 big toes, and you're literally going to wrap the fingers around the 2 big toes and then plant the 2 big toes back down towards the mat. So you're creating a connection here. Keep the knees soft, look forwards, pull the crown of your head forwards, draw your sit bones backwards. Imagine spreading your sit bones out to the side. Now as you exhale, I'd like for you to bend the elbows, bringing your chest closer to the thighs. Crown of the head moves towards the mat. Good. Shift a little bit more weight into the balls of the feet. Remember to still press down firmly through the big toes. They're not lifting away, but you still have the connection. The fingers are still wrapping around the 2 big toes. Good. Let's do that one more time. So look forward, soften the knees, lengthen the spine like a halfway lift. And then exhale, bend the elbows and use that upper body strength to bring the chest closer to the thighs. Can you press the backs of the knees towards the back of the mat anymore to lengthen through the legs? Promoting a sense of ease and stillness. So each time that you inhale, you're cultivating that sense of ease. And exhale, really beginning to soften and surrender. Well done. Bringing the head away, bring the chest away. We're going to stay in this position. We're just going to change our hand position and our grip. So this time I want you to pick one foot up and slide your hand underneath the sole of the foot. So now maybe your toes are reaching your wrists. You might have to bend your knees fully to make this connection. Or if it's not for you, then just place your hands onto the blocks in front of you instead as you place them down. So we're looking to keep that connection. Our feet are really pressing down into the palms of the hands. Same as before, we'll look forwards, crown of the head pulls forwards and through. And as we exhale, soften the elbows, shift some weight into the balls of the feet and beginning to lengthen through the legs. Now these stretches are all very strong, quite intrusive, so being really mindful, easing away if it feels painful at all. But if we're here to work on our flexibility, then we should absolutely find that challenge and be able to stay in those challenging moments, those uncomfortable moments. And that's when we really begin to make a difference in our bodies. Well done. We're going to come away from that. Release the hands from under the feet. Good. Shift some weight forwards and backwards. Pedal out the legs if you want to. We're going to keep our left foot as it is now. Step the right foot backwards. And then walk the hands around and the toes around towards the long edge of the mat. So you have about 1.5 legs distance between the 2 feet. And the hands can be placed just in front of you. You can also use blocks if you want to, so bring them around with you and just place your hands on a level that feels really good actually, just for your body. We're targeting the back of the legs here, but also the lower spine as well. Feel free to bend the knees, of course, that is always going to be an option here. Turn the toes slightly in, heels kick out just a little bit. That helps to open up the attachments through the hamstrings, through the backs of the legs. Take a nice big breath. Pull the crown of the head forwards. As we exhale, bend the elbows. And then releasing the crown of the head just towards the ground. It might not touch the mat completely, but just kind of sending your energy into that direction. Pressing out through the feet. Both legs are active. Try not to shift the weight over to one side more so than the other. Well done. Coming away from this shape, soften the knees, everybody. Start to stack the spine and do that really, really slowly. Gradually building your body back up again so the head comes on top last. We'll keep the shape with our legs exactly as it is. Reach the arms up, inhale. Bend the elbows, come into cactus arms, where your elbows now will be in line with your shoulders. Reach the arms back up and then pull back to cactus arms. One more time, inhale, lift up. Pull up out of the waist and exhale, moving back to the cactus arms. Bring your forearms just in front of you and then place your hands behind your head, open out your elbows, open through the chest. Good, take a big breath in, lift your heart skyward, squeeze your glutes, just a mini back bend. And as you exhale, soften the knees, bring the elbows together just in front of you, drop your chin down to your chest, round your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart, open the elbows out, maybe lift the gaze here. As we exhale, draw the elbows towards each other. Chin moves to chest, round the shoulders. Final time, inhale, opening everything. Really open up through that front superficial line of the body. And exhale, closing and drawing in. Well done. Come back into neutral spine, pull the crown of the head up, reach the arms up, open the arms out. And then we're going to make a fist behind the spine. So just simply interlace the hands behind your back. Soften your knees, lift your heart upwards and press your fist down. Let me give you a side profile. So lifting your heart, lift the chest as you press your fist down towards the mat. Opening up through the shoulders, opening up through the pectoral muscles and the chest. Keeping the knees soft as they are. Hinging forwards from the hips. Let's take the hands or the fist overhead and just find a comfortable place for your arms to dangle here. It might feel pretty good to just give it a little bit of a sway from side to side. So go ahead and make any additional movements that feel nice. And then releasing the arms, place your hands down on the mat just in front of you. Keep your right hand as it is. Lift your left arm up to the sky. We'll take a twist around to the side. Shift some more weight back over to the right side if you've shifted a lot of weight over to the other side. Keeping that V shape through the legs. Good, and then switching the hands over so the left hand will come down and the right arm lifts all the way up and over. Again, neutralize the weight. Try not to shift weight over into a dominant side. Good, and then release the left hand down. So we'll turn the left toes out to the side, bending deeply into the knee. And the right toes now can lift as we sit low into a side lunge or skandasana. Move back through the middle, maybe stay low. And then let's go into the other side as well. So lifting the toes upwards with the opposite leg that's lengthened. Up and over back to the original side. You can use your hands wherever that you need to, and it might be the case that your bottom isn't all the way down. Maybe it's lifted a little more. You'll still feel this. You're still doing exactly what you need to be doing. Up and over to the other side. Keep the chest open. Again, use the hands wherever that you need to. You might find you actually be more comfortable on one side than the other. And then up and over. Let's do one more. Up and over. Good. Lengthening through the right leg. Point the toes up to the sky. And then up and over to the other side. Breathe here. Lovely. Come back into the middle. Walk the hands around to the top of the mat. We'll take the right knee down and the left knee down. And just sit back towards the heels of the feet. Good, a chance to breathe. If you want to grab a quick drink, go ahead and do that. And then when you're ready, meet me back in a seated position. We're going to open the legs out to the sides. So we're making a V shape again with the legs to the long edge of the mat. Doesn't have to be very wide, just find a comfortable place for you. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, place the hands in front, start to lean forwards. So by now you know what I'm going to ask of you, maybe, hopefully, and that's to lift the heart forwards and through. It's not just to collapse the shoulders. So pull your heart forwards through the arms if you can. Let's point the toes away and then bring the toes back, press forwards and out with the heels. Good, see if we can walk the hands a little bit further. Good, still keeping the chest lifted, shining your heart up. Good, one more time, point the toes. Bring the toes back, spine is not rounded, shoulders are not up by the ears. Relax, pull them down. And then walk your hands back in towards you. Well done. Inhale, reach the arms up. We're going to turn to the right side, place the hands either side of the leg and we'll take a fold down. This time we can allow the spine to come into flexion. So bringing the forehead down towards the leg. Noticing anything that is showing up for you right here. So maybe now you don't just feel it in the backs of the legs, but perhaps in the opposite hip and around the side body as well. We'll take 5 more full breaths here. It's really good to hold all of these poses, just so we can really begin to work into the flexibility, the belly of the muscle itself, but also the spaces between the bones too. Let's bring the chest up to the center, come back into neutral. Inhale, reach the arms, and then exhale, twisting to the left, and then place the hands down to frame, and then gently folding forwards. So in yoga, actually in our everyday lives, it's great to find the balance between everything, the yin and yang, the harmony. If we're building flexibility, we should also consider building strength and stability in the body as well. And we can build a lot of strength by actually moving in and out of the postures with precision and with control. And of course with good alignment too. Let's take a few more breaths here. Well done. Bringing the chest away. Walking the hands back into the middle. Bend the knees, bring your legs a little bit closer. You might need to use your hands to do that. Bring your feet to as wide as the mat, wider than hip distance apart. And then just place your hands behind you. We're going to drop one knee in through the middle, bring it up, and do the same on the other side as well. So just giving a bit of time to move the hips into the opposite direction. This is internal rotation now. Again, just finding harmony and balance in the body wherever that we can. Lovely. Okay, we're going to finish off this practice with a final pigeon pose. And I actually really love to do pigeon pose. I didn't like to do it for a very long time, but now I see its value and its purpose. So the way that I love to come into pigeon pose is actually from downward facing dog, because I like to use that momentum to bring my knee forwards and through. Let's take the right leg to the sky as we inhale. We're going to bend into the knee and just start to create circular motions with the knee and the hip. So taking it around one way and then the other way. So we're drawing a nice big circle with the knee. Good. And then we'll re-extend the right leg back up to the sky. Take your right knee, set it just behind your right wrist, and then flare your foot out towards the left hand or the left wrist. Extending through the back leg, we'll have a little check-in with our alignment before we go any deeper. So have a look behind you and just check that your knee, your back knee, is directly behind your sit bone and then it's not flaring out to one side, maybe off the mat, which it can do. Also, it doesn't really matter if you tuck your toes under or rest on the tops of the feet, but just whilst I'm working on my alignment, I do like to tuck the toes underneath, just so I could maybe shimmy the knee back into center if I need to do that. Okay, so bring the hands back in towards you. Maybe place one hand on the knee and one hand on the ankle. Squeeze your glutes, lift your chest. And then as you exhale, very gently folding forwards. Coming into your pigeon pose. And instead of just focusing on sitting down with the right side, I want you to actively keep pressing into the space that you have between your left hip and the ground. And we'll be holding this pose for just one more minute. If you have longer to give, then feel free to stay even longer. Linger in this pose for as long as you can. If things start to ease up, we can change our alignment. We can maybe bring the front foot forwards a little bit more. And again, still square down with the hip. And then moving back into the pigeon. If you're finding that you would like a little bit more, extend your right arm forwards and then thread the left arm through the gap. So like a thread the needle arms really. And this just encourages the left hip to move a little closer towards the mat. Completely changes the pose. So only move into that space if it feels really good and you're able to still breathe in that. So we'll take a few more rounds of breath before we'll switch to the other side. Okay, coming back up onto the hands. Bring your hands close in towards you so your chest will lift away. Tuck the back toes. Let's step back to downward facing dog. If you prefer child's pose, go ahead and take that. Wiggle out with the hips. Bend into the knees as you extend the other. Wonderful. Then find stillness in the downward facing dog. We'll move on to the other side now. Inhale, left leg can lift up. Bend the knee, starting to create those circular motions with the left hip. Take it in one direction and then switch it around to come the other way as well. Good, and then re-extend your left leg, take it back to the sky. And then bring in the left knee, set it behind your left wrist as you flare your foot out towards the right wrist. There's really no rush to move into these postures, take your time. Have a look behind you, check that your knee is directly behind your sit bone, so moving the knee back in towards the midline if you need to. And we'll bring the chest away, so left hand to the knee, right hand to the ankle. Good, opening the chest, squeeze your glutes. And then walking the hands forwards. Well done. Typically in pigeon pose, we would have the front foot flexed, where the toes point forwards and the sole of the foot is towards the outer edge of the mat. And that really is to help protect the knee, this front knee, as it's bent into such a high angle, good degrees. So yeah, having the front foot, the ankle flexed will really help that. It recruits all the muscles that are surrounding your knee. So just essentially helps to protect the knee joint itself. If you think that everything starts to feel a little easier and you want more, you can bring that front foot forwards. Eventually your shin maybe will be in line with the top of your mat. Closing this space here, right hip moves down towards the ground as well. Good. If we want more with the arms as well, let's include them. Left arm reaches forwards, right arm reaches through the gap. And you're really going to be feeling all of these movements, all of these postures differently. Wherever that you're tight in your body, it's really going to show up. And that is a great opportunity to really learn from what your body is telling you. Trying to soften everything here. Try not to hold tension in your body. Let's take a few more rounds of breath. When you feel ready, moving yourself away from your pigeon pose, nice and slowly and carefully. Tuck the back toes, pushing back to downward facing dog. This will be the final down dog of this practice, so really lend your breath and your movements nicely, blending them in so nicely. Everything feels like you're just simply returning home again into your body. Rest the knees down. Walk your hands forwards. Reach up as far as you can. Sit bones will stay lifted. Hands are reaching forwards. Drop the belly down. Drop your chest down if you can. Maybe your chin comes down onto the mat as well. And look forwards. So the sit bones are lifting to the sky. They're spreading wide as well, with the chest melting towards the earth. Puppy pose. And then peeling yourself away from the mat, walk the hands back in. Sweep the legs along the side. Let's come all the way down into a well-deserved Shavasana. So lengthen the legs. Lengthen the arms. Rest your shoulder blades, the back of the head. And as soon as you get here, notice how good it feels to arrive at this place of stillness now. It doesn't have to take up too much time, but just simply scanning from the crown of the head. Scan your body all the way down to the soles of the feet. What does it feel like? And then from the soles of the feet all the way back up to the crown of the head. What does it feel like to be in this body? What does it feel like to be in this moment right here? You can stay here for as long as you want to. Or if you'd like to bring some more movement back into your body, start by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Blinking open the eyes, taking the light, taking your surroundings. And then bring the knees up in towards the chest into a ball pose. Squeeze your thighs closely in towards your body. Take a sway from side to side. And then either roll to the right side and use your hands to very slowly help you lift up, or rock forwards and backwards using the momentum to bring you upright. And we'll close this practice in a seated position, showing respect for ourselves and also each other as well. Feel free to return to this practice as many times as you need to, anywhere, anyhow. Preventative care is honestly the best care for your body. So prioritize yourself. Leave those to-do lists alone, even just for a moment, and really focus on what you can do with your own body. Let's bring the hands to heart center, bowing the head down. The divine light in me sees and honors the divine light in each and every one of you. There is no space, difference, or distance between us because we are all the same. We are all one. Namaste.